So I'm looking over my back hedge and doing a weather check, and as you can see in the far distance, that mist is coming in. It's obscuring the hills behind it, but I think we can work with this. Right then guys, we've arrived here. The woodland behind me is a very nice woodland, and if I get set up in enough time, we'll go for a little explore in there. I've been there before. The only thing is, it's kind of like a wildlife woodland, so that's the reason I'm not camping in the woodland, because there's dormice, there's bird boxes and things in there, so I've left that to the wildlife. I'm on the outskirts of a little paddock before you start dropping down the slopes of this tor I'm on. So yeah, I'm not interfering with the wildlife, which you should never do. And I'm going to set up a roof over me now, because it's starting to get quite wet. That mist is kind of turning into a bit of well, permanent rain, I think. So I'm going to need somewhere to get in under pretty quick. So I'm going to make this happen, and I'll get back to you as soon as I've done that. So I'm set up for tonight. I've got the traditional issued army basher or tarp, and that's set up in basically a lean-to configuration with my hiking stick. I've got multiple bungee straps everywhere. It would look a right pig's ear of a mess, but it's functioning and I'm doing what it wants to do here. And I've got my cheap little tarp just providing a little bit of a windbreak. But yeah, it's not very pleasant. That mist now is rain, but I will be dry underneath that, and I'm really grateful. And I've got a lot of room, more room than I traditionally have when I wild camp, so that's going to be a bonus for me. So as you can see, I've bungeed just about everything you can bungee here, and I've used my hiking stick. Hey, a hiking stick has multiple uses. I've got my chair in here, my Bergen, and as you can see, I'm going to be really nice and dry in here, and I've got the wall as a windbreak as well. But yeah, it's not the best conditions to be wild camping. In fact, if I knew it was going to be this bad, I possibly wouldn't come. But you can see, you can't even see the hills in the distance, and there's another set of hills behind those. But while we're here and we've got light, let's go up into the woodland and have a look around. Well then guys, I'm not in my traditional DPM army jacket. I've got MTP today, not to be outdone by the more cooler bushcraft and wild camping channels. I thought I'd step it up and go a little bit more progressive. But I'm sure you'll see me slip back into my old habits of DPM. That's just me. So basically this woodland sits on what was mining works many years ago, and the traditional old woodland has gradually crept back into this area and taken over the ruins. but you can see the remnants of all the walls. There's collapsed buildings, and it's all got that heavy moss that you get from these, well, temperate rainforest areas, which there is some recognised ones just around the corner from here. So this is basically the woodland and temperate rainforest as it's gradually reinstated itself around this tour, as the mining works and industrial works have basically faded away into history. The woodland's now taking it all back again. Nice to see, but this here is basically the start of the wildlife woodland. So as you can see, like I said, it is pretty much a temperate rainforest, a British temperate rainforest, and everything's covered in real heavy moss. So just let you have a look. Look at that. You squeeze that, all the water's coming out. But these logs are piled up like that for insects to burrow into, and everywhere you go, you'll see bird boxes. I'll show you some in a minute. It's hazel, oak, there's ash. I haven't seen sycamore. There's holly. Yeah, there is actually some willow in here as well. There you go, there's a bird box right on that tree. I'm not going to go near it because, well, to be blatantly honest with you, this is bird nesting season now. There's loads of interesting rock features in here. But yeah, let's follow this path up here. You are allowed to actually walk around in here. It does state you need to keep dogs on a lead and, you know, be mindful of what you're doing. But yeah, actually I'm slipping as I go up here. There you go. You can see all those bore holes there from insects, and that in turn will make food for the birds and small mammals. And there's lots of piles of sticks to provide homes for mammals to scurry through and things like that. Look at this interesting one. You could almost imagine that being a some sort of ancient ritual that's all been put there for. But yeah, I'm sure there's a purpose for that. All that green will turn into bluebells when it actually does get to the right time of year and temperature, and it becomes a sea or a carpet of bluebells in here. It's absolutely lovely to walk through, particularly on a nice warm spring morning. Yeah, I love it in this little bit of woodland. But yeah, what puts people off is what you saw I had to walk through to get here. And that water doesn't drain away that easy. It can kick around till the beginning of summer. And as nice as it is wandering around in here, and I'm really enjoying it, I want to get back and get a coffee and kind of set myself up for this evening. I'm not having fire because smoke, and I'm quite near a wildlife, it isn't an official wildlife reserve, it's just something that you know, people are doing off their own bat. So, you know, no fire, no smoke, just gas. But like I said, I am possibly 200 meters away from this actual woodland. So, but like I said, you know, respect the wildlife, respect everything around you. There's plenty of times, plenty of occasions in other woodlands I can go and have a fire, and today everything's just sodden wet anyway, so I'm just going to enjoy just being out here listening to all the nature. It's not a remote woodland, but it's far enough away from people for you know, wildlife to do its thing uninterrupted. So just for reference, you can see here remnants of old mining works and industrial works, and total contrast, like I always, whenever I come to these sort of places, here you have like industrial works, and now it's gone right the way back to nature as it was intended. So how hidden am I? That's probably a question some of you may be thinking, may not be, but let's have a little look. I'm coming down to it now. It's probably not that hard to spot once you get past this blackthorn. That's blackthorn with all these white little flowers coming. Quite beautiful. There's home for the night, and I want to get a brew on. It's probably going to be a little bit darker in here than what I really wanted because I'm tucked away, but that's what you got to do when you wild camp. Right, let's get a coffee on the go. So tonight's delight is beans with pork sausages, just a staple for camping, some biscuits when I get hungry, and some breakfast biscuits. I gotta be away early, so I won't be messing about. Yeah, and obviously coffee, real coffee, milk, but I do bring the occasional emergency 2-in-1 just to get me through if the milk goes bad and doesn't last. Should be alright because it's still pretty cold. It's not going to be a cold night, it's just going to be damp and wet. Not my favourite wild camping conditions. I'd rather have it pouring, tipping down. At least you know you've got to stay in under. If you go out walking around too much out in this, you inadvertently, without knowing it, you're getting damp and wet. I do actually have waterproofs, so I should be putting them on. Right then, what I'd like to say to any newbie wild campers and people getting into the bushcraft scene, so regarding shelters, I use predominantly tarps. That's all you'll see, and I've basically cobbed together and stitched 2 tarps to provide myself a shelter in pretty much a location which wasn't really offering a lot of shelter to me here, but I wanted to be in this location. The only thing I would say is if you can get a shelter up and it's not looking like something you see textbook on you know, other internet sites or YouTube channels, don't panic too much. It's all about learning, so the more you put shelters up, the more confident you'll get, and you'll know what you can get away with and what will work. I know this will keep me dry. I know I haven't got extreme winds. I possibly wouldn't be staying here with this in extreme winds. I'd be seeking somewhere further down in the valley, and I'll probably just be using one tarp. But this will suffice for tonight, and for me it's an absolute luxury to have this much room to get in underneath and enjoy sitting in underneath it, and I'm not getting wet or cold with wind. I'm going to put my ground sheet down for my bed system later on, because I'm in and around here. I'm churning up a little bit of the leaf litter, and I don't want everything to get too covered in mud and basically forest litter before I pack up and go home tomorrow. But yeah, don't panic too much, or if nothing else, just get your kit out and keep practicing somewhere, you know, in a park, in your garden, anywhere, till you feel confident. You don't have to be textbook perfect just to get out. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there. Yeah, it's really nice coming to places like this and just having that walk around that woodland, and then, you know, soaking it all in, and the feel-good factor, and then coming down to where I am now, and I'm looking up onto it and I'm thinking, that's really, really good, and you hope that's there, or you want it to be there for your children. And then that brings you around to all the green issues and net zero for the UK and everything like that. Whether you're into it or not into it, it makes no difference, because it's happening. It was pointed out to me it's going to cost me a small fortune. I'm going to have to get rid of my fuel oil tank. I'm going to have to get a complete new system to somehow, or whatever is available, to heat my house. I'll then not only have to do that, I'll have to redecorate and do the interior of the house after it's been fitted. Then I'm going to have to pay to get the electric system installed so I can get electric car. Electric car may be out of my price range, so I might be off the road anyway. And if I get electric car and it's a second-hand one, the maintenance problems, as in with batteries, I may have to take a small mortgage out. So I may not have any retirement anyway. I may have to go back to full-time work in a factory, or even join the army again just to pay for all this net zero. But like I said, whichever way you look at it, or whatever side of the fence you sit on it, it doesn't matter. It's going to start costing you guys. I've got my coffee for some morale and to cheer me up in this weather. I've got my beans and sausages on the go, so that'll warm me up. I've lit my lantern because I don't want to be messing about with that when it gets dark. And I wish I cleaned the glass inside that lantern. It's actually burning the carbon off, but I should have cleaned the glass. But hey ho, I am where I am now, and I'm not doing nothing else. All I'm going to do is sit back and enjoy the sounds of nature. I've heard some owls, and yeah, I'm going to get my bed space sorted out. And it won't be long before I actually start thinking about getting some kit. I haven't slept too great at home just recently, so maybe tonight exhaustion will take hold and I will sleep right the way through. Let's wait and see. Well, I've got my beans and sausages, and it's not a budget one. It's a reputable make one, and they taste very nice. Beans and sausages, I've said it all the time, just reminds me of being outdoors, whether it be camping as a kid, camping as an adult, and doing this sort of thing, or even just a throwback to, you know, military ration packs where you used to get beans and sausages all day breakfast type things. So, you know, for me, just as an overnighter, I wouldn't want to eat this if I was out day after day after day, but just tonight this will warm me up and get me through the night, give me enough fuel to keep me warm. And that's what you want, something just to, you know, you don't need to be doing a la carte cooking when you're out in the field doing this. It's fun, it's entertaining, but you don't feel that you have to do that. Just the simple stuff, just to feed you, you know, feel good food, just to really fill you up, keep you warm and keep you going. And that's what you need. And then it's enough hassle washing up, you know, limited plates, let alone having about 50,000 cooking utensils and things because you've decided to cook a full-blown roast out in the woods. But yeah, this is quite adequate, and you know, I would recommend it to any of you guys, particularly if you're starting out. A can of sausage and beans for a meal just to get you started. And if you really want to move on up to more elaborate cooking, crack on. But yeah, this will get you started. But I have to admit, even though I do have the budget ones from time to time, when the missus goes, or my wife goes, yeah, well, I use that term, my wife goes to shopping and she comes back with the better named brand ones for me, I know I'm on to a winner when I'm out here doing this. So then guys, when you do a wild camp and you get back from a session like this, you will have dirty and wet kit. Now it's always best to try and get on top of it and sort it out pretty much straight away, because there is always that danger, not only do you forget, that it just sits there festering and you look at all your kit and the enthusiasm to sort it out quickly wanes away and it becomes a chore. If you get straight in on it, sort it out, clean it and dry it and put it away, you can then forget about it. That's how I find it anyway. There has been occasions, like particularly with my boots when I've been out hiking or I've come back from a wild camp and they're caked, and I chuck them in the workshop, and then, like, you know, about 4 or 5 days later I think, oh, I want to put those boots on, and I go and have a look for them and they're absolutely caked and filthy, and I got to spend the best part of 20 minutes cleaning them and polishing them and getting them ready to wear again. So yeah, it's always best to sort your kit out when you get home straight away. Like I said, it's a pain, but get it done and you can forget about it. And your kit will last you a lot longer if you look after it. Even if you're using budget kit, look after it and it will serve you a lot longer and a lot better. I'm really toasty in my sleeping bag. I've got a bivvy bag and I've got roll mats and a ground sheet, so I'm really warm actually. But I tell you what's warmed me right up, I didn't realise I had wet socks. So I took my boots off, realised they were damp, I've taken them off, and I've climbed into my sleeping bag. My feet are warming up beautifully in here now. So yeah, I'm just going to phone the missus, make sure everything's right at home, and then I'm going to close my eyes and get some sleep. I am absolutely shattered. Well, I'm up and I'm going to get a cup of coffee on the go, and once I've got coffee going, I'm going to break camp down because I've got to be out of here. I've got a little bit of a walk back to the car. That was a strange one last night. The wind and the rain stopped, and then all this fog and mist started coming down off the tour, and it was coming through the woodland. And as it came into this glade down to where I was by the wall, it was actually coming like fingers, like tentacles of fog and mist, just coming out of the woodland, hugging the ground, drifting down towards me, going over the stone wall, and then going further on down through the valley. It was quite eerie. I had to get out. I went for a pee and got back in my my DOS bag, and it was absolutely like switching on a radiator then, lovely and warm. But I drifted off. When I woke up, it was totally gone. There's still some hanging around the tops of the tors and the hills at the moment, mist that is. I'll see if you can see that. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up. There you go, there's one of my neighbours there, and you can see the mist above it. It's obscuring the hills. If I bring you around, you might just see an old tin mine sitting on top of that hill, but to the right of it, that fog and mist is still hanging around. And I can't sweep you any further because I got trees in the way. You'd see the tors. But yeah. And right behind this hedge is where all the sheep were sleeping. And there I am. And I had the pleasure of their delicate smell. All packed away, squared away. Actually just boiling, that's quite quick. So breakfast, you can just see where I've been lying, the dry bit. And other than that, you wouldn't know I was here. But I don't think it's going to clear. I think we've got this most of the morning down here in North Cornwall. Right then guys, I'm going to drink this up and get out of here. But yeah, don't ever wild camp, and that is one of the unwritten rules around wild camping. Don't ever interfere with wildlife, or if there's anywhere set up for the use of wildlife. As you can see, there was bird boxes and they were in there doing stuff in regards to wildlife. You don't ever camp there. Very nice and enchanting woodland, but no, you just don't go anywhere near anything that's being used for wildlife. I've come out of the woodland after we had our walk, come down across a public footpath, down through a glen, and come to a stone wall which kind of like marks a boundary where you go down into the valley anyway. And yeah, set up in a little area down here. Not my first choice of location, but it's what I could make happen and still have access to walk around in that woodland. Yeah, absolutely beautiful wild camp, made it happen. The weather forecast was wrong again. I seem to be getting weather forecast wrong a lot at the moment, but in any case, yeah, I'm going to drink this up. I've got my breakfast biscuits, and I'm going to head on out of here. And this is at the point, I suppose, I'm going to say to you guys, take care, stay safe, and I hope to catch you guys out on the trail. I'd rather have a full English fry up, but you make do with what you got.